everybody. Oh my goodness. And we have the trifecta of trifecta here on the Her Hoop Stats podcast. I'm Christy Winters Scott, joined by Cindy Brunson and Helen Williams. And we are going to break down some college basketball hoops coming up. And we're starting in the ACC. First of all, y'all, how are you on this lovely afternoon?
Doing really
great.
well. Getting ready to set up the drive to the desert because the women's Final Four is in my backyard here in
I'm getting my
Phoenix,
flight
Arizona.
next week, Cindy, so
Right?
be ready.
I'm
telling you, daytime highs about 80, 79, 80.
Nice.
Beautiful. Cools off in the evening. Yeah, it's not. This is a great time of year.
I'm definitely, I've got to look into flights. I got to get that Carbone, restaurant I know that's down there. My guy about that one. So yeah, we gotta hook that up. Actually, before we could get to the Final Four, we got to start from the top, right?
Sure.
The ball is going up in the ACC, and it's up for grabs, really. I mean, I think every conference. I know you have your top tier teams and teams with the expectations. But you just never know. And that's why they play the games. And I'll start with you, Cindy. What do you see in terms of prognosticating how the ACC will shake out?
Forgive me for my terrible singing. But listen. Kara Lawson has figured out the recipe to success. She's got her players to buy in. There's a reason why Duke is the highest ranked ACC team in the preseason top 25. And with her USA coaching resume now expanding as well for 5-on-5, I just feel like it's Kara's world and we're just living in it. So I cannot wait to see what the Blue Devils roll out.
Yeah, Helen, what do you think of that? Right, and obviously, yes, they're in the highest ranked team in the ACC in the top 25. What has Kara Lawson done to get her program to that echelon in the standings?
Just her non-negotiables: focus, discipline, work ethic. She's got street cred. I mean, she loves the game. She played the game at a high level, obviously coached at a high level, actually was a tremendous broadcaster at a high level as well on the men's and the women's side. So who wouldn't want to play for somebody like that? And then to be at a school like Duke is unbelievable. So I knew it would happen. I just didn't know how long it would take. But I knew when she got the job at Duke, it was just a matter of time.
Yeah. And just to follow up on that, she's getting the kind of player that she was, right?
Right.
Dig in, coachable, teachable. Like every player on that roster, you see a little bit of K-Law. And that should scare the bejesus out of everybody else in that conference because that's what separated Kara as a player.
Yeah, I mean, I just love listening to her. I mean, her motivation of these young women on her team and across the country too. I mean, it's not just for her team because, what she says, I think it transcends sports in terms of being a great teammate and being a leader of yourself first, right? And then the team. And so I just think it's really been fun to watch and obviously getting that USA honor and to hear her acceptance speech of that, you guys. I mean, you could.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Kleenex. I needed Kleenex. It was crazy. I had the privilege, the absolute joy of my life at ESPN, sharing studio space with her. And when I tell you, I thought I knew about basketball as a studio host until I sat next to her. And the learning that I was able to do while getting paid, it was nice, was transcendent. I mean, it really elevated my ability to sit and say, yes, I want to call these games because my depth of understanding just by listening to her, my knowledge grew leaps and bounds. I will forever be grateful to Kayla.
Yeah, I mean, it was just such a beautiful acceptance speech because, she kind of walked down memory lane, Helen, and when she spoke about how Pat Summitt, right, was going to be carried forward with her in this role to continue to pour into the game. What was that part of hearing her say that? What did that feel like for you to hear that?
Well, it just felt like this whole thing, she started off the speech by naming every single Olympic coach, which I was very impressed with. And then it wasn't just her speech, but it was the two empty chairs with the flowers in the front seat that in the front row that got me, because it was clear this was something that she had always wanted, but also understood that she didn't get there on her own and wanted to give homage to the people that helped her get there. So the two chairs in the front that's what got it for me.
Yeah, no, that was just such a incredible display of respect. And that's exactly what this game needs right now, right? The game needs to understand the shoulders on which we stand, right?
Mhm.
Every single day. And I think for the players who are currently competing, I think there is no better way to display that than the way that Kara Lawson did, and letting everyone know the herstory and the history of it all. I think that is understated in every single way, every single day. So for me to hear her say that, I concur with you on that, Helen, and Cindy too. Just her basketball acumen is one thing, and then on the other side of it, her ability to connect the respect to the basketball acumen, and then carrying forward the game that we love so much. And that for me is definitely always going to be it. So I mean, it was beautiful, and
Mhm.
congrats to her on USA. Kara, congrats, represent the DMV, baby. I love it.
I
Um,
knew she was going to get the
I
DMV in
thought
there at some point. I was just
Of
waiting.
course.
that a little bit. Period. But yeah, no, I'm super excited for her, but I'm also excited to see how Duke carries forth the execution of
Mhm.
the foundational pieces that she's been able to put together for her
Mhm.
program, and carry that dream forward. Right, when she got hired there, she had a vision for the
Mhm.
program, and they've been in the top 25. That's not new, but for this year to have the expectations, as you said, Cindy, to be sitting at the top of the ACC with the other teams. And I know
Mhm.
Notre Dame, Olivia Miles transferring, and all the things.
Mhm.
What do you think? Let's just go with Notre Dame, and not necessarily in order or whatever,
Right.
but what do you think Notre Dame will look like without Olivia Miles? I mean, Hannah Hidalgo is still there. That was the fire and ice. Miles
Mhm.
was that ice, and Hannah Hidalgo, the fire of it all. But what
Mhm.
does that do to Notre Dame in terms of the dynamic that those two had with one another, with the fire and ice?
Well, because Olivia Miles was hurt, remember, we
Right.
kinda get to see what Hannah Hidalgo can do when she's the person.
Right.
So, I expect to see what we saw when Olivia was hurt, because Hannah knows how to run the show, and she is more than capable and more than ready to shoulder the program. I just wanna see if Notre Dame can get back to being that school, right? Because when you talk back, a few years, ACC, it was
Right.
either NC State winning everything or it was Notre Dame. And there really wasn't that much middle ground. Now, in the last 4 years, we've had four different conference champions,
I
Duke
love that.
being the latest.
Right.
So I'm curious to see if Coach Ivy is ready to get Notre Dame back to where Muffet McGraw had it, right? Like where it's just we're the big dog and everybody else has to keep up with us.
Right. Helen, what do you think on
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I think when I look at Notre Dame, what comes to mind is I don't know. Right?
Mhm.
I don't know if Hidalgo is going to have to be even more of a volume shooter. I don't know where the help is going to come from. And this is not to say that there's no talent on there, but
Mhm.
I just don't know. I mean, you lose, West Bell to the WNBA, you lose
Mhm.
King to the WNBA, you lose Citron to the WNBA, you lose Koval to LSU, you lose
Mhm.
Olivia Miles to TCU. That's a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, that's an awful lot, and so I just don't know, and I'm not sure of. I know they picked him. I think let's see, they picked him fifth,
Mhm.
but I don't know. That's what comes to mind when
Still
I think about
15th
Notre
in the
Dame.
country. That's what
Yeah,
the nation thinks.
Right.
So
yeah. So it's not a. I don't think they have talent. It's just
mhm.
I have no idea what
Yeah.
it's going to look like.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, it is. I mean, in this age of the NIL and the transfer portal and all of those kinds of things, right? A lot of teams have big turnover, but they also bring experience in the door, as well
Mhm.
as watching experience with graduation and transfers going out of the door as well. So I'm definitely intrigued. Ivy, a ton of respect for her. Love her. Saw her here in DC recruiting. So I mean, she's on the move and continuing to do her thing. So yes, I mean, she played for Muffet McGraw, Cindy, to your point. So she
Mhm.
understands what that is and the tradition of wanting to hold those standards true moving
Right.
forward. And it's not necessarily name on the back, but the name on the front. And I think that's going to carry Notre Dame a long way. But to be picked preseason number 5 in the ACC, I mean, I think that is a solid feat in and of itself, is it not, Cindy?
Oh, for sure. 100%. I mean, and this is an institution that we have come to know as Guard U, right? We just saw Jewel Lloyd and Jackie Young get a chip because where did they play college? Notre Dame. So I think Hannah Hidalgo carries on that legacy no problem. To Helen's point, it's just what else is around her? What else
Yeah.
will keep defenses up at night? Because we know the proven product in Hannah Hidalgo. I'm very curious to see what NC State looks like without Sanaya Rivers. We saw what Rivers could do at the next level and
Yeah.
how versatile and what a defensive weapon she can be. So what do the Wolfpack look like without that dynamic player? I'm very curious to see.
Yeah, and Helen, to that point, it was both sides of the ball for Sanaya Rivers at NC
Mhm.
State. I mean, obviously the go-to and go-through player for them, but what do you see for their team without her presence? And not necessarily when she had the ball, but I mean, eyes were glued to her, even if she
Yeah.
didn't. I mean, defenses were morphing depending upon where she had herself spaced on the floor on the offensive side. And
Mhm.
defensively, you're not going to go straight to her body because it's getting sent back. So, what does that look like for NC State without having her massive overall presence on the game?
Yeah, well, I think we're going to find out. I mean, they lost Desire James as well, right?
Mm.
Still have Zoe Brooks, and walking up to your front porch and knocking on your door and say, "Hey, let me in," was Camille Pierre from Vanderbilt. I mean,
Yep.
20 points, almost 10. I'm going to give her a double double, 10 rebounds a game, just
Yep.
walking on your front porch. So they're going to be tested really early. They three of their first 4 games are against teams that finish in the top 25. Right. I'm
Mm.
really interested to see how they do against USC in Charlotte early in the year. So I think that they are. Let me just say this: I think that the top of the ACC is going to run through North Carolina, NC State,
Mm.
Duke, and North Carolina. I think are going to be the toughest, the really tough to beat, assuming they all stay healthy and they're able to gel and get some chemistry. So NC State's going to be
Mm.
right up there.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Cindy, what is it with Carolina? Right? I mean, they have been in the thick of it in terms of being ranked over the last
Mhm.
several seasons. But what is
Yep.
it about the consistency of the excellence there for the Tar Heels?
I think that starts with the head coach and the coaching staff, right? We saw the build. They went into Arizona a couple years ago and just punched the Wildcats in the face. I mean, it wasn't just a win, it was this is how Tar Heel basketball is going to look from here on out. And we
Right.
remember the Wildcats had been on the ascension, right? They were on the rise. They had been to the Final Four in 21. Like Adia had that thing cooking, and to just come to have it stop dead because the Tar Heels were like, "Not today. I just have seen that toughness muscle. It just didn't seem to be the way North Carolina played back in the day. They were much more finesse. They had great shooters.
Right.
But now it's like, wow, they'll get in your shorts and they will make you wish you hadn't got out of bed. And that's really cool and different from North Carolina. And I think
Yeah.
it's why they're a big part of the conversation. I think what is it? They're going to start the whole deal top 15 in the country. Like that's that's huge and that's transformational. And it took a while, right? You had to get past Sylvia Hatchell and everything that she had done and all of the greatness and all of the things.
Yeah.
But I really like the direction that North Carolina is going in now.
Yeah, they're like all of the ACC teams. They're testing themselves early. They play 3 of
Mhm.
the 4 Final Four teams. They play UCLA, South Carolina, Texas. To your toughness point, they've got
Mhm.
transfer Nyla Harris from Louisville, who is just a
Mhm.
beast on the boards. I mean, all of her, she has more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds. So there's that toughness, and then the freshman Nyla Brooks. Like it's going to
Mhm.
be how consistent can those people be, from game to game in terms of how successful they're going to be.
Right.
And with how North Carolina is going to obviously be tested and the iron sharpening iron at the beginning and the non-conference portion of the season, how do you think that's going to look for them? And how are they going to carry what they learned into conference play, Cindy?
Well, as the coach, and Kara said this at her press conference, you want to find out early what you have, what you are, what you can do, and then you can, go from there. And I don't think that they would have scheduled those if they didn't think they had a chance, right? They wanted to test
Yep.
themselves, but if they didn't think they had the team to compete, they wouldn't have scheduled those games. So a lot of the ACC teams scheduled hard in non-conference, and I think that's only going to help them with experience, especially for the ones that have the younger players, the really good freshmen. They're going to get thrown in the fire real early, and to see what it's like this is where we're headed in March, so you might as well get a taste of it now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
yeah, because you want to see what it is in late October, early November, basically before Thanksgiving, when you get a little bit of time off and you can get back in the lab before conference play starts. So I think the hard scheduling, I mean, they're just taking a page right out of Gino Ariema's book, right? There's a reason why he's got a dozen of these things. He knows what building a winner looks like. And so people are using that formula. He's laid out the blueprint. You want to beat us? Meet me where I'm at. So teams are doing that. And I think it's to their benefit. Yeah, if you get punched in the face and you're a freshman in October, it looks completely different when you are trying to be on the rise in the heart of conference play, winding, mid-February, winding down toward tournament play at the beginning of March.
No, absolutely. And I think that's a fair point as well. I mean, the blueprint by the 12-time champ Gino Ariema, coming off of a championship last year. I mean, they even made it to the Final Four with injuries, right, that plagued their lineup with 6 players down. So, I mean, he's been able to do it with resilience and with courage. And I think that is what every team that has really challenged themselves in a staunch manner in the non-conference portion, I think they'll learn a lot about themselves. Coaches will also be stretched in terms of how they can set up their rotations. And with that being said, Helen, what other teams in the ACC right now have challenged themselves in that way outside of Carolina?
Yeah, I think North Carolina, NC State, and Duke are the 3 big ones. Everyone else has one here or there, but they're the ones who are following that blueprint the most that that you're talking about, because they know what it takes to be in the NCAA tournament. And you, as a coach, you can talk about it all you want. Right? You can say, listen, I need for you to cut at this angle, at this pace, to set the screen at this spot, for a reason. When you go and play these top teams, 3 out of the 4 who were in the Final Four, you don't go to that spot, you don't go at that pace, and you don't set the screen the right way. You don't have to say anything anymore. Right. Because you're like, hey, listen, this is what it's going to take. This is why I'm telling you to do that. So that's part of it too, because everyone's telling them how great they are. Here we are talking about how wonderful they are, and kids are kids, but you've got to get out there and you've got to perform, and it can't just be a 1-game thing. It's got to be on a consistent basis. So when you schedule that hard, there is, I think, an ulterior motive where you're trying to communicate some things to your players that you don't necessarily need to say, or that you've been saying forever, and it's just like, whatever. So those are the 3 that I think are really, again, the ones who are going to be in the NCAA tournament, who want to go far, who are going to test themselves early.
Yeah,
I never count out Louisville. Jeff Walls always has something up his sleeve. So I know he was working the transfer portal trying to find a point guard for a minute. I think that got sorted. The point guard that he had his eye on, I think, landed at SMU. So it'll be interesting to see who's going to run the show and how they do it for Louisville and what the Cardinals want to do. But I never count that excellent coach out. And since I'm on the West Coast, technically, I also want to give a shout out to Cal and Stanford. Now, I know the Cardinal received votes in the top 25 AP preseason poll, but Sharman Smith has it going at Cal. Huge wins last season in a variety of ways, in a variety of places. I know she lost a little bit to graduation, but I think she has finally figured it out of how she can make her program work in this transfer portal era and with the demands that Cal puts on student athletes academically, and it's working. So I'm very curious to see if she can have back-to-back 20-win seasons as well.
Right.
Let me just go back to your point about Louisville, though. Jeff
Yeah.
Waltz is his first game of the season is against UConn.
Yep.
So
Yep.
talking about testing yourself, but he's got a transfer, Laura Siegler, who played at
Yeah.
St. Joe's, who was the only reason that team was able to compete against the Power Four schools that they play. I shouldn't say only, but most reason that they were able to compete against Power Four teams. She is a post player that can stretch the floor. She has tremendous footwork. She is an exquisite passer, high basketball IQ, and so she's going to come right in and give them some versatility. And he's also recruited some other versatile posts. So I think you're right about that, Cindy. They're always going to be in the mix.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the playbook for Jeff Walls is matched, right? I mean, he has the counter for the counter for the counter when it comes to setting his team up for success. And they were super young last year. I believe they had 8 or 9 freshmen on the team. And Cindy, to your point, to have to go on the hunt for a point guard. I mean, that's an extension, obviously, of the coaching staff. You want to have someone who can come in and basically hit the ground running, literally and figuratively, for your squad. So for him to get the match that he wanted and have that puzzle piece filled for the team that was missing for him. But what do you think that's going to look like when they start to play and how he wants the team to look and play stylistically?
Well, I think, they still have Tajon Roberts, who was a freshman there last year, and she led them in scoring and steals. And I think being able to not have to handle the basketball as much is going to free her up to be able to do what she has the ability to do. And he talked about maybe doing some inverting because his post players were so versatile and they could stretch the floor. Okay. So whatever he does, they better play hard. I don't care what his style is. If they're not playing hard, then he just goes ballistic. So I will put that out there. But I think they will be maybe a little bit more space this year than they have been, but we'll see.
Yeah, I was thinking of the inverted post play like we see with Grace Van Sluten at Michigan State. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of post versatility. I think just lets a coach have some fun. And to your point on being able to drop a play, like when they get an out of bounds play, I grab my bucket of popcorn. Okay, coach, what are you doing? What's after timeout, same situation. So he's a real tactician and I enjoy that.
Yeah, no, it's super fun for sure. And I love that comparison with Grace Van Sluten at Michigan State. I mean, Van Sluten had some USA basketball experience over the summer. I mean, and when you look at that, right, the versatility that the international game has developed into over the last several years, I mean, that speaks to that, and you saw that in the WNBA with Alyssa Thomas too, right? A lot of inverted actions, getting touched in that way. So it's definitely becoming a thing on all levels, just to be able to put everyone everywhere and have like a plug and play situation. But you do have to have some organization at that point guard spot. I mean, as a coach, you got to have trust with who has the basketball. Not everybody. Hey, man, that's not for everybody. Tell you what, and people want it to be. Like, I would have loved to be a point guard, but guess what? Now I'm good. I'm gonna go right over here. Like, I know my role. But I think, roles across the ACC, I think there are going to be so many standout point guards in the ACC. I don't know if I'm going to take it too deep here, but who do you see in the ACC this season and standing out in that regard for their respective ball clubs in the ACC conference?
Besides Hannah Hidalgo.
Yeah, besides Hannah, we got her.
Okay, I got you.
She's gonna look like out there, magician.
I defer to Helen on this because she has these player profiles.
Okay,
I think Kamora Johnson at Virginia is going to be, and I will say this: they could very possibly. Let's see where they were picked. They were picked 7th. They could surprise some folks and finish higher. I think,
Okay.
based on the transfers that they brought in. They've Alexis Ohanian has put a lot of money into their NIL, so they're able to go out and get quality players. So that's another one that I would look at, Kamora Johnson, to have a big year and to help Virginia possibly finish above 7th place.
Yeah, and
Mm.
Amaka, I know she's going to, want to have her in her back pocket, to be able to run her stuff. And, just shout out to Amaka. I love her. I mean, she was an associate head coach at Michigan State for years in the Big
Mhm.
Ten, but to see her at Virginia and thriving the way that she is,
And she just had a baby.
her second,
Oh.
her second baby, and she's doing it. Out to moms. I'll tell you what, it's not. I don't care what you're doing in life, personally, but that is definitely another straw to put in the drink to stir around. But anyway, that's another
Yeah.
topic for today. But I know she has to be pleased, like you said, to have someone that she can trust with the basketball like that, with experience, right?
Mhm.
With the pressure that she's going to see, right, in the ACC. But when you're looking at the rankings in the ACC coming in, preseason ranking.
Mhm.
I know we've already covered Duke, Carolina, NC State, a little bit here,
Mhm.
Virginia, Notre Dame, and Louisville. What other
Mhm.
teams in that top echelon intrigue you in terms of how things may or may not shake out, outside of the non conference portion? But in January, when things get cooking in the ACC, what teams intrigue you as maybe being a dark horse this season?
Oh, I just wanna add on to the point guard, situation. Ty
Okay.
Skinner, SMU.
Okay.
Oh,
Ty
yes.
Skinner,
Yes. Yes.
SMU.
From Arizona
Uh,
State. Yeah.
yes, couple of years in the Pac-12. She led the conference in scoring. She is a walking bucket, diminutive, yes, but think of Dana Evans, right? Small but lethal.
Fun.
She can get it, and she will be the straw stirring the drink for Adia Barnes now at SMU. So I would definitely keep an eye out for Skinner. She is special.
Yeah.
Um, and then I'd like to see what Stanford rolls out. Kay Pay getting comfortable in the role of head coach, being at Stanford, following in the footsteps of her former coach Tara Vanderveer, the legend and icon. So I
Yeah.
think we'll see more of the imprint of what Kate wants to do and how that's going to look. And I think it'll be really fun. I think they'll play with pace and get in people's shorts and be able to shoot the lights out from three. So those are the two things that I would also keep an eye on when it comes to this. I keep having to check my notes. Okay, is that team still in the ACC or did they move somewhere else? Like this conference chaos, it still messes with my mind.
Yeah, there. But Stanford, I mean, to your point, Kate Pay, played obviously for the revered Tara Vanderveer, and I
Mhm.
had them early in last season, and
Yeah.
definitely going to be at the top of mind for the Cardinal. And Tara Vanderveer was at the game that I was on last
Yeah.
year, and just to have not just her mentorship, but her
Mhm.
support and trust. I mean,
Yeah.
that's her baby for like 40 years, right? Have
Yes.
a player come in and stand in your spot, if you will, on the
Mhm.
sideline and just lead the program the way Kate has been able to do. I think it's really a beautiful thing. And I know for me, there's never any such thing as small things, but for
Right.
me, it's always like those little iterations that kind of stand out. To your point, Helen, we were talking about Carol Lawson with the flowers on the empty chairs. Like
Mhm.
there's like this reverence of
Yeah.
who has come before all of us in women's basketball and how that's going to continue to grow the game in beautiful ways. So for Kate
Mhm.
Pay, I mean, pace of play is definitely at the top of the list for how they want to play stylistically. Do they
Mhm.
Yeah.
have the personnel across the board and the depth off the bench to be able to execute that level of high power offense? And it's got to come from their defense, right?
Mhm.
I'll defer to Cindy on that.
Yeah, most definitely. I don't think the bench is as deep as she would like. There's going to be a lot of development, a lot of new faces, relying on underclassmen, probably more than a head coach would like to. But that's the
Right.
era we're in now, right? Like, because if these players don't get playing time, they bounce.
Yeah.
So you got to give them, you got to sell them on the education piece. Like, what school is going to give you a better degree than Stanford? And then if you stick with me and listen to what this program can be and buy in, and this is the beauty of what Kara Lawson has done at Duke, another high intelligent, high IQ person who gets folks that can meet the academic demands of Duke. And that was very specific when Kara made that pivot. She wanted people that can be coached on the fly, that she could put in a plan. And if that plan wasn't working in the first quarter, she could change it for quarter 2, change it at the half, mix it up for quarter 3. And that's what Kate has the luxury of having at Stanford. Highly intelligent people who are also wonderfully gifted at basketball. So, and this is just, she's just a couple years in. We'll give her some grace and give her time, but I really like the trajectory for the Cardinal.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. And, and it is sometimes it's still mind boggling to me when you're looking at the transfer portal, because yes, sometimes you don't get the minutes and you bounce, but sometimes you get the minutes and you still bounce. So for
Camille Pierre, we talked about her for NC State. It's like, what? She was an anchor in that Vanderbilt offense. And now she's at NC State.
I mean, you don't know what kids are looking for. I mean, you talk about SMU. I mean, they've got 12 transfers. Yeah. Christy, when you're talking about what other teams in the conference intrigues me a lot. She brought a couple players with her over from Arizona. What's her name? Sanaya Ja, is that right?
Yeah. Yep. She played at South Carolina.
The other young lady, I can't remember her name, but she was from Germany and she got hurt last year. So she brought a couple of her players over. She got Ty Skinner, but 12 transfers. She got Paulina Perez, who used to be at Carolina, who went to Arizona, who's a great shooter.
Yes.
And we all know SMU has they have tons of money. So it'll be interesting to see them. But the team that I feel like is going to surprise people is Clemson. Sean Poppy.
Tell me about the Tigers.
Sean Poppy, that dude can coach. I did a couple of his games last year, and what he did with what he had last year, they were maybe 5 points away from having 2 or 3 more wins. I don't know what it is about him. He has this very ebullient personality, but he knows basketball. He likes to spread it out. The players love to play in his system, and he got this hurts my heart. He got Demir Hines from Wake Forest, who is a really good, strong rebounder on offense, and he's got shooters. So he's got the ability to do this 4-out, 1-in and give one-on-one opportunities to his post plays. But people don't talk about Clemson because they haven't been that good. But I'm telling you right now, they are not going to finish 11th. They will finish higher. I don't know where, but you better watch out for Clemson.
Yeah, we got to have B-Mac mark that down. B-Mac. That's our very good.
Flip it.
Hey, clip that out for Helen. So when the ACC portion of the season starts and Clemson starts stirring that pot, you're going to come back to Helen's comment.
I'm telling you, watch out for Clemson.
I love that though. But 12 players out of the portal. I don't know. You saw Deion Sanders. He's running a scrimmage to get portal film for players at this point because he's like, hey, I'm not stupid. I know half y'all aren't even going to be in here. So tomorrow we're going to suit up. We're going to play, a portal scrimmage for you guys so you can get some portal film so you can send it out. I'm like, is this where we are? I love that though. I'm not mad at him. I'm like,
he's adapting.
I would, you have to, like you said, meet people where they are. This is where everybody is. Oh, hey, we just want the best for everybody. But 12 players, Cindy, and I love Adia Barnes-Kofa. I mean, that is my girl. Her husband's on staff with her.
Okay. Her husband, Salvo, is the best smelling human being you will ever run into. I'm just saying that out loud. He used to be a model. And he and is as nice as he is handsome. That's the real, what? I'm just saying. And his ability to coach him up, he's the reason why Ari McDonald is in the WNBA.
Yeah. And
he transferred from the University of Washington to Arizona, and he helped her shooting. He helped her develop a 3-point shot. He encouraged her float game, drive and float. And, just maximized her ability to be a live ball turnover and what that could do for her. And it was all of his. He just poured into her, coaching, drilling, all of the things. So I don't care where these kids are from on the SMU roster. He
Right.
is going to make them better. And
Yeah.
Adia is going to get them to compete like they have never competed before in their lives. So the
Yeah.
combination of those two,
Mhm.
SMU is not going to win a lot, but they will impact who gets to cut down the nets and be ACC champions when it's all
That's
said
a
and
good
done.
point. That's a great point.
Yeah, no, I love that. And yeah, I think Adia and her husband, they met when Adia was playing professionally in
Yeah.
Italy. Yeah.
Yep.
And they have two babies. Well, I guess they're
Yeah.
elementary
Yeah.
babies now, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
beautiful love and basketball situation there at SMU with Adia and her husband. I love that. And I'm intrigued. I think that's the one I'm going to circle as well as intriguing me the most, just to see how the chemistry comes
Hmm.
about. Right. And
Right.
one way on paper. Well, boy, I tell you what, we've seen that across the board as coaches and analysts and everything else. When you see the names on the paper, you're like, oh, snap. Okay, this is what this could look like. And you look at it and in good
Mhm.
or bad way, right? It can be
Right.
totally different than your expectations from what you see on paper. So I'm just really intrigued to see how everything boils down in the
Mhm.
ACC, especially for SMU. But I want to see them in conference play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because I think that's going to give them the time to kind of marinate in the crock pot, if you will, in the
Mhm.
non-conference portion. And then I think it'll be intriguing to see what the rotation boils down to being once they get into the ACC portion. So I think I'm really intrigued to see what that looks like for Adia and her crew. So
Yeah.
what other teams, before we move on to the next thing, but what other teams do you want to see something from this season in the ACC, and who can challenge the top tier teams coming into the year?
You know, I think it's going to be a struggle for Pittsburgh, Boston College, and Wake Forest. I really
Mhm.
do, and you know, it hurts my heart to say that about Wake Forest, but
Right.
um, they're going to struggle. Georgia Tech, I don't know. Obviously, they've got a new coach, Karen Blair, who was at
Mhm.
Maryland, and they lost Danny Carnegie to Georgia, right? And so it'll be interesting to see who's going to score for them. So Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh, Boston College. Syracuse could be interesting. They've got transfers from Auburn, from where else do they have? From I think it was Texas.
Mhm.
Um, so you know,
They also
I
have a
think
transfer
Coach.
in Coach Natasha
Yes, let me
Adair.
just say this: their best acquisition
Is
was
that
Natasha
coach?
Barnes. Their
Agree.
best acquisition was
Agree.
Natasha Barnes, who
Yep.
has a history of being able to develop and build programs, and so
Right.
she is going to be able to give Coach Jack some respite in terms of taking some things off her plate and
Yeah.
allowing Coach to coach. They hired a general manager this year, Michaela
Mhm.
Walker. So that's the first time
Yes.
they've ever had a general manager. So I love Felicia Jack because she said, you know, I think we need to be better as coaches. She goes, we need to be
Mhm.
better. We need to be better physically, spiritually. We need to be better. We need to coach better than we did last year.
Oh, wow.
And
Mhm.
so for her to be as self-reflective as that, it really pleases me to see a coach just really taking a look at their program because they struggled last year after having a great year. The year before with I forget
Mhm.
the young lady who got drafted by Vegas. They didn't know who was going to score last year. You watched their
Mhm.
games and it was like, well, usually we gave the ball to her and we just got out of her way, and
Okay.
she did her thing. But this year, I mean, last year they struggled to find out who that person was. So I think with the transfers, I think with the improvement of a couple of the returning players, they could make some noise. I just don't know how much.
Right.
Right.
And I agree with that. I think, Natasha Adair, she was at Arizona,
Mhm.
or Arizona State,
Correct.
here, and then for her to make that move to be alongside of Felicia. I saw them
Mhm.
at a Mystics game over the summer here in DC, and it was just really fun to see their connection and their love of the game. I know is going to shine through their players
Mhm.
on the court, but they
Yep.
have Layla Filia, who transferred from Texas, but by way of Michigan.
Yeah.
She's the go through player for the Wolverines in the Big Ten. transferred to
Mhm.
Texas and didn't quite get the reps on the court in real time,
Mhm.
as much as she maybe thought she would. And I'm not saying that in a begrudging way. I'm just saying now
Right.
she's in Syracuse, and I think she's going to be freed up a lot. So for me, going along with what I was saying about SMU and the 12
Mhm.
transfers, I want to see what the transfers look like for Syracuse, right? And
Yeah.
Right.
especially the self reflection from
Mhm.
Felicia Leggett Jack. And
Mhm.
love that. And I love to ask that question to coaches. What have you learned most about yourself? Right? Because
Right.
you always look, I mean, as a mom, I know I'm always like everybody else saying, what are you doing? Well, this player looks like this player. What does this player need? But then sometimes you got to add yourself to that bubble, right? And
Mhm.
try to examine, what did I learn? What do I need to do better?
Right.
So it kind of translates into coaching and life lesson
Mhm.
form, really. And
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see what Layla Philia looks like at Syracuse. What do you guys think about her addition there?
I think it's
What?
great. When you have
Yeah.
an automatic bucket, that's a coach's dream, right? You know that your offense can run through one player and be successful, and that has just got to be such a relief. And I'm also looking forward to what Duke looks like
Okay.
as the hunted
Oh,
instead of the
Mm,
hunter. Now
yeah.
they've got the bullseye on their back. So, what changes for the Blue Devils, if anything?
mhm.
Because now they're, for the first time since K Law got there, they're playing with expectation. Before they were playing with house money. So
Yeah.
I can't wait to see how that unfolds.
Yeah.
I don't think it. I mean, I trust Carol Lawson, like
Yeah.
to have them prepared, not just the X's and O's piece, because that to me is the easy part.
Right.
Um, I I just trust her ability to get them to buy in and to do the right thing. That doesn't mean
Mhm.
that they're going to go undefeated or that they're going to
Right.
be play perfect basketball, but she just has this ability to communicate with players, and a lot of it is street cred because she could say
Yes.
she's been there, done that, right? Just look
Right.
at her
Doubt
resume.
me? Let me show you this gold medal from Beijing.
Right.
Right. But
Yeah.
she knows what it's like to be hunted. You know,
Yeah.
she played at Tennessee. She played
Yep.
USA basketball. And so she has a visceral understanding of that. And I trust her ability to communicate that to her players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree fully. What do you think about that, Cindy, in terms of
Oh, absolutely agree. But this will be the first time since she took over
Yeah.
that we're all talking about Duke at the beginning of the season as the one, as the team that should be the conference champion, as the team that has the best shot to represent at the Final Four in Phoenix, Arizona in April of 2026. That
But don't you
is,
think that she sold that as a part of the vision to get those kids?
oh, she
Or
would have
no?
had she would
Yeah.
have
I
had
mean,
to.
I think
Yeah. Because
that's
it's all
I'm here
about playing
because of
for the
that, to
big
do that.
prizes. That's the only thing coaches can do to separate themselves now because everybody, thankfully, is on TV a lot,
Mhm.
easy to find, easy to
Right.
look at. Before that was the sell, right? Oh, we have our own network. We can put you on.
Yeah.
So now the next one is we want to get you in front of eyeballs on TV in the biggest spaces. So we're seeing these upped non-conference tournaments
Right.
in early winter, which is amazing. And then the other sell is play for the biggest prize of all. Like, does UConn have to win everything? No. Does South Carolina? No. We can be a part of that conversation too. So I think that's a big selling piece that I know Carol Lawson, put into her quiver before she started firing those arrows here, like come play for me. So, but yeah, this is the first time where we're talking about Duke in these conversations of being at the level of somebody who could knock off a USC or a UCLA
Mhm.
in non-conference or a UConn. Like that's a big leap, right? From
Right.
where Duke has been over the last couple of years.
Yeah, no
What
doubt. And UCLA and Duke are playing
Yeah.
around Thanksgiving time. And
Yeah.
and listen, I know we're gonna talk about the games we want to circle. And I mean, you can't just
That's one of them.
it's never just one game, but that UCLA Duke game, man. Listen,
Mhm.
got my hands together. Corey
Yep.
and Carol Lawson, two basketball savants playing
Yep.
checkers out there. That's
Yep.
got to be at the top of a lot of people's list to see how that game is going to unfold. But Is there anything before we move to our games to see this season that we're going to have circled? Is there anything else in the ACC before we leave that where it is before it takes off on its own and unfolds in front of our eyes?
No, we can stop talking about it. Let them play.
Okay.
I want to
Well,
see
let
how
me just
right
say
Helen
one
is
thing
about
though.
something.
Charlie Cream thinks they're going to have 10 teams in the tournament, so we'll leave that. That's his prediction right now.
That's a
Early
big
prediction.
number. That's double
Yeah,
digits. Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, they had
Okay.
what 8 last year, so
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
he thinks it's going to be 10. So
Okay.
what it's worth.
Okay, Charlie.
10 had 12 of their 18 teams in for the first time.
Right.
It's not impossible. It's not something that's going to be a surprise if that happens. But they're going to all be beating each other up during the conference season, so that's going to be fun. So when the season starts in a couple of weeks here, you guys, man, we just kind of alluded to. I know, like let's go. But when you're looking at some games that you're going to have circled on your calendars, and I know there are probably several because I know for me several going to have circled, but one of them obviously UCLA Duke, and I'll go last. Who do you guys want to see if there is a game to call? And let's take it not just this year, but if there is like a game you could go back to and call and be on the broadcast to speak to the people about the game. It could be a game coming up this year or a game from the past. What would that be for you guys?
Well, my favorite games, and I go to the past, when it was the Pac-12, I had a huge upset weekend. I was at Arizona State and the Oregon schools came through. So first it was Oregon, ranked 3rd in the country at the time. Had they beaten the Sun Devils, they would have elevated to number 1. But Sabrina Ionescu and that talented class came in and stubbed their toes against ASU. So then right behind them, Oregon State came in, and the Beavers, because the Ducks had lost, had a chance to also ascend to number 1 in the country. We used to play Friday, Sunday. So Friday night, Ducks fell on their face. Sunday, Beavers roll in, and I was so ready to call. And for the first time in program history, Oregon State is the number 1 team in the country. And the Beavers could not get it done. 2 upsets on the same weekend. Head coach Charlie Turner Thorne at the time was just masterful. She did not have the talent. The roster did not meet either Oregon school where they were, and yet the upset happened. And so for me, that was the most fun because the absolute unexpected happened.
Right.
If Oregon could have done, we fully expected Oregon State to do it. And then the Beavers couldn't get it done. And I just think it speaks to the parity in our game that we've seen rise, especially over the last decade. And for me, that's the fun part. Now, as for a game that I would love to call moving forward, I would love the USC UCLA matchup, the crosstown rivalry, the rank on rank, especially with the player movement between the 2 programs now. Oh my goodness gracious. And the fact that Los Angeles cares about both teams now. The last 20 years, we've seen them care about UCLA a little bit. We've seen them care about USC. Now it is sold out everywhere you go between both programs. And it's a beautiful thing, as it should be. And you've got Cheryl Miller pulling up and Cynthia Cooper for USC. And
it's a
UCLA.
scene now. It's a scene.
It is. It's a vibe. It's everybody wants to be courtside. So yeah, that's on my bucket list now.
Yeah. Helen, what about you? I agree with both of those. I love that. What do you have?
Yeah, any UConn Tennessee from back in the day, I would have loved to call, especially if I don't think they were there at the same time. I think Taurasi graduated when Candace Parker was a freshman. I don't think they overlapped, but any Tennessee UConn game back in the day would have been awesome because that was the pinnacle of women's basketball. And, Pat Summitt did so much, would play anybody anywhere to grow the game. And she was such a cool person. So that would have been, my obviously in the final game, that would be great. But yeah, that's the kind of game that I would have loved to have called back in the day. As for now, this is never going to happen, but I would love to have Wake Forest in the Final Four. I'm just saying, it's never going to happen.
Never. Why you got to start on that?
I just, I
You know?
just, I'm trying to be realistic. I'm
Okay.
trying to be realistic. I
Listen,
think they
I didn't
can.
think
They made the
Washington
tournament
State would
before,
make
but
the
to get to the
tournament.
Final Four, that's asking a lot. So I just want them to get to the tournament. But
Okay.
as far as this year, I want to see USC and NC State at the beginning. I want to see North Carolina and UCLA
Okay.
at the beginning because that's going to be a great test for all four teams.
Mhm.
So those right away, you're going to see, what you have.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love all of those, and yes, definitely.
Oh, can I just plant
Excited.
this seed about UCLA? I've been doing a little research
Oh,
and trying to get my arms around this roster, and especially Sienna Betts.
yeah.
And I had a very trusted source compare Sienna. Now, this is Lauren's younger sister, the freshman, to Asia Wilson.
Yes.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can't wait.
It's absolutely like that.
Yep.
Definitely a 3-level score. Definitely a savant on the glass.
Yep.
And to have a baby sister on the same squad as big sister, I mean,
Right?
the synergy of that alone stands out for sure. But
Yep.
And she just got an NIL deal with, I think, with New Balance.
New Balance,
There
she
we
did.
go. Okay.
Yeah.
Already.
Back to
Hasn't
the
even stepped foot
coin.
on the floor yet.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
But when she does step on the floor, listen, she's gonna have those New Balance on. I may say I love it. No, I'm intrigued by that as well. Asia Wilson 2.0 with
Mhm.
Sienna Betts there with her big sis Lauren Betts. So for me, okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna do a past and then a present one.
Yep.
Okay, so in the past, I would love to go back, like way back, way to the game. It was USA basketball, and it was Cheryl Miller on the team,
Ooh.
the E twins on the team, Kim Mulkey with the two braids, Kim Mulkey with the braids down the back, the French braids. That squad. Oh my God! If I could go back, I was a little one then. Now, so
Okay.
but if I could go back and call that championship game for USA basketball with
Mhm.
all of them on the floor, oh my God, I would be like Martin Lawrence at Thanksgiving, just loving that moment, like
Mm.
full on. And then to add to, a little more recent, any buzzer beater from the NCAA tournament by Arike Agumawale.
Oh, yeah.
I my dad was a pastor, so we used to say when the spirit hit people and they would run around the church, that would have been me on the Arike buzzer beaters in the fun.
Get her a wireless mic because she's going to run around the arena.
That would have been me. So that would have been fun. Just the energy behind that. I love a good buzzer beater, especially in clutch moments, off the chain. So I would have been out of control. So that, and then finally this year, a game that I'm going to circle from the DC area, and there's always like the Howard Hampton HU. Who's the real HU?
Yes.
But this year, though, it's the USC versus USC, right? It's USC versus South Carolina. So
Right.
real USC, that's what I'm going to have circled this season. And I think it's just going to be a lot of fun, obviously. But, to come from I had a lot of friends go to both Hampton and Howard, that I grew up. So there's always like that battle, like HU, and the real HU, and there's always that battle. But now we have it for USC. And no one really calls South Carolina USC. They call them South Carolina, and they call it USC. But they're playing against each other. There's going to be an identity clash there with that. So for me, it's the USC game.
Nice. I like it.
I love it.
I think that's going to be fun. But anyway, there's so many games this year to circle within the ACC, non-conference games, obviously, across the board. And we are on the precipice of another exciting run. Who is going to be in Phoenix with Cindy and Helen besides me for the Final Four? I don't know. But I know it's going to be a blast. Anything else you guys want to leave the people with before we get on out of here?
Well, just start checking flights. Or however you're going to get to Phoenix. And I believe if you go to ncaa.com, you can start investigating ticket packages. Like they are ready for
they
the
just started last
rollout.
week.
Yeah.
Eek, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta
Yeah,
get
so you can start, and I love this because you can start gifting it to friends and loved ones, right? You can get the tickets and say, "Hey, you're going to the Final Four as a stocking stuffer, Christmas present, Hanukkah, whatever." So, yeah, I love that piece.
look at you, Cindy, the gift giver, and
I'm just saying, I want everybody to be here.
like the Burberry scarf. We'll talk.
Sorry,
Oh,
I had to.
Mac.
BMAC, you're supposed to have
Yes. Oh,
some
he's
sort
I
got
of
have I
thing to
breaking
haven't
let us
news.
know you're
He's
coming.
got breaking
I
news.
haven't got there yet. I'm sorry. I
Okay.
apologize. But the email came in this past at the end of this last week.
Mhm.
Since we're talking about ticket packages, Final Four early access to tickets will start on Tuesday, October 21st at noon Eastern.
There we go.
Mark it down. Put it on your watch, baby. Yeah. What?
Yes.
Here
And
we
that
go.
is just an example of why BMAC is a producer extraordinaire.
We're in our
Make, hey, making the big bucks.
That's it. That's it.
Right.
Love it.
Oh, Helen, any parting shots here?
I would just say, well, first of all, Cindy, you are in charge of meals and entertainment when we get there.
I can do that. Phoenix is
You are the
I'm telling you.
event planner.
Phoenix, Scottsdale is so underrated for food, you guys. We have unbelievable restaurants, and a new one just opened up. It's called Society Swan, and it is at Fashion Square Mall, and it is unbelievable. It is such a wonderful experience, and I cannot wait for you guys to pull through. And that's just one. I have a list as long as my arm, so I cannot wait for you guys to pull up.
Yeah.
First of
So
all,
that's the first thing. Second thing I would say is just, support women's basketball, whatever channel. Find your team, support your team, buy
Yes.
tickets. Don't, buy tickets and go to the games. Put women's sports on TV. There you go. There's your shirt.
Yes. Yes.
Because it's a great product out there, and pay to see it. Pay to see it.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yes.
the game needs it. The game needs it right now. It's at a great place in terms of momentum and groundswell and the respect level and eyeballs on. I mean, what a fun time for girl dads, for
Yeah.
moms with daughters who can just go and just support this beautiful game that we love so much. I can't wait for it. Cindy, say less about all the food places there. I'm a food fan and get my my tickets together. Come
Yes.
to you for that BMAC. I got to go online and get those tickets ready because I'm definitely going to be there. Definitely flying there because I'm on the East Coast. So there's that. But
Yeah.
oh my God, when we get there, it's off the chain. Helen, you're good, right? You're going, right?
Yeah, I'm getting my ticket tomorrow, actually.
Nice.
Oh, well, let me just say this. I only miss Final Fours if they're in cold places now.
That part.
Otherwise, you will
Right?
see me at every Final Four. If it's not
Can we
cold,
take
I will be there.
Columbus out of the rotation, please? Like, nobody wants that.
Yeah,
Nobody
I'm
wants
not.
that.
No, I'm not going to any
I don't
more
need
cold Final
snow.
Fours.
I don't wanna yeah, snowshoes, nothing. No.
It's a little silly, but Phoenix, though, I'm down for a nice sunny palm
Yeah. Little
situation.
sunscreen. You can wear your maxi dresses, your
I love
hats, your shades. Yeah.
Oh, listen, say less. I'm excited. How many months until that, man? I gotta get myself together for that. This is a girls' trip. We're doing it. No, I love y'all. I love y'all. And what a great discussion today. And the ACC is where it's at, especially for Duke. And how did you start it? We're going to end it with you were singing, Cindy.
Duke of Earl. I cannot sing. I apologize to everybody. I cannot sing.
I would have done it. But anyway, we appreciate y'all. For Cindy Brunson, Helen Williams, I'm Christy Winters Scott. We'll see you guys next time.